Let's talk about the vicious cycle of depression. You know the one, where feeling bad makes your life harder, and when your life gets harder, well, you just feel even worse. It's an exhausting loop. But what if there was a single, crucial problem at the heart of it all? Something we could actually target to break the cycle. Let's dive in.
This quote really sets the stage. It frames depression not just as feeling sad, but as something that actively dismantles your psychological immune system, your very ability to fight back. And that's what makes it so incredibly hard to overcome from the inside.
So, this downward spiral, it isn't just random bad luck. The whole cycle is being driven by one specific issue. And if we can really get our heads around that one problem, we can start to take away its power.
And here it is. The core issue isn't that your life is objectively terrible, it's that your brain has developed a perception problem. Seriously, think of it like you're wearing a special pair of sunglasses, but instead of just making things darker, they filter out all the good stuff and turn up the volume on everything negative.
So how does this negative filter actually work in your brain? Well, it turns out your mind is constantly guessing, constantly filling in the blanks. Let's do a quick little experiment right now to show you exactly what I mean.
It's absolutely true. There's a literal hole in your vision, and right now, as you're watching this, your brain is just making stuff up to cover for it. It's creating a seamless reality so you don't even notice the gap. Want to find it? Okay, try this with me. Close your left eye. Now, hold up your left finger and really focus on it with your right eye. Good. Now, bring your right finger up right next to it. Keep staring at that left finger, but start to slowly move your right finger off to the side. At some point, poof, it just vanishes. It's gone. That's your blind spot. Your brain just filled in the gap with whatever was in the background. Isn't that wild?
And that right there, that's the perfect metaphor for what we're talking about. A depressed brain does the exact same thing, but with social and emotional information. When there's a gap, when it's not sure what's going on, it doesn't fill it in with something neutral or positive, it defaults to the negative. It fills in the blank with negativity every single time.
Okay, so how does this habit of filling in the blanks with bad stuff eventually lead to that deep, awful conclusion of, I am bad? Well, it happens through a kind of distorted, depressing math.
It really boils down to these three main culprits. First, you start interpreting neutral things as negative. Second, you develop a selection bias. You only pay attention to the negative feedback and ignore all the positive stuff. And third, you overgeneralize, which is where you take a memory with mixed results and just paint the whole thing as a total failure.
Here's a perfect example of that overgeneralization in action. A healthy mind can hold both ideas at once. Yeah, I did well on this part, but I could improve on that part. The depressed mind, though, it loses all that nuance. The entire event gets flattened into one big negative blob. The whole thing was a disaster.
And this is what that sounds like when you say it out loud. It's the language of overgeneralization. It's not, man, this one thing today was really tough. It becomes, everything sucks. The brain's ability to see shades of gray is just gone.
All right, let's run the numbers on what should be an objectively neutral day. Let's say one good thing happens, that's a +1, one neutral thing, that's a 0, and one bad thing, a -1. If you add it all up, the day comes out to a net score of 0. Totally balanced, right?
But here's how that negative filter processes the exact same day. That positive performance review, it gets ignored or downplayed, so the +1 becomes a 0. The neutral event, the colleague not saying hi, that gets interpreted as a personal slight, so the 0 becomes a -1. And the bad news, well, the bad news stays bad.
And there you have it. You started with a day that was mathematically a 0, a completely neutral day. But after it passes through that negative filter, it feels like a -2. Your perception literally created a worse reality for you. So when this happens day after day after day, your brain does what it's designed to do. It looks for a pattern. It looks for the common denominator. And if every day ends with a negative score, no matter what happens, your brain reaches one devastating conclusion. The problem isn't the events. The problem must be me.
Okay, that's the problem. It is a perception problem. But here's the good news. If the problem is your perception, that means you can actually fight back. You can train yourself to see the world differently.
Now, this is a really important point. Talk therapy is absolutely vital. But a therapist can't just reach into your mind and physically change the filter you're looking through. At the end of the day, that's a skill you have to train from the inside.
And this is where ancient practices like yoga and Buddhist philosophy really shine.
They aren't about someone else coming in to fix you. They are entire systems full of sophisticated tools designed specifically to help you train your own mind and your own perception.
So, let's get practical. What can you actually do to start reclaiming your reality from that negative filter? Here are 2 powerful exercises you can try.
The first one is about learning to separate materiality, what's actually there, from mentality, the story your mind adds on top. So for this perfume vial, its materiality is simple. It's clear glass, it's cold, it's white. That's it. Your mentality is where you add the story. Oh, I like that, or I procrastinated on buying it, or this is a problem. The goal here is to realize that most of what you experience isn't the thing itself, it's the story you're telling yourself about the thing.
The second exercise is called cognitive reframing. It sounds complex, but it's really simple. So that colleague doesn't say hi. Instead of defaulting to "they must not like me," you pause. You literally remove I from the equation. And instead you ask, what else could be going on in their life right now? Maybe they're stressed. Maybe they just got bad news 5 minutes ago. You realize it is almost never about you. And practicing this breaks that destructive habit of personalizing everything. But just when you think you've got this all figured out, there is one last absolutely fascinating twist to this whole story. A paradox that kind of challenges everything we've just talked about. It's a theory called depressive realism. And get this, it poses a shocking question. What if people with depression aren't seeing the world incorrectly at all? What if they're actually seeing it more accurately, and the rest of us are just walking around with rose-colored glasses that protect us? I mean, listen to this quote. This level of narcissistic idiocy is required for healthy human functioning. It's a provocative way of saying that most healthy people have a slightly unrealistic, overly optimistic view of themselves in the world. We think we're a little better than average. We think good things are more likely to happen to us. And maybe, just maybe, that little bit of delusion is actually necessary to be happy. And this leaves us with a huge final question to think about. What's actually better? To see the world with brutal accuracy? Or to see it in a way that allows you to be healthy and functional? Maybe the goal isn't to see reality perfectly as it is, but to learn how to perceive it in a way that lets us live well.